Power to the player? Really, GameStop? These 5 GameStop practices need to be illegal if they aren't. Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting. If you didn't know, I used to work at a GameStop. Effectively, it was called EB Games, Electronic Boutique back in the day, but they were all bought up by GameStop and they're under the exact same name and corporation at this point. So, while I was working there, we were definitely doing some shady business practices. A few of them I would consider illegal, but more recently, they're doing even more things that should probably be considered illegal. We need to call them out on it. If you've had any sort of weird experiences or bad experiences at GameStop, please let me know as a comment below, because it's getting a little bit insane and it's really starting to anger me. Alright, the first thing that they're doing that is definitely illegal in my opinion is they're selling brand new copies of games already opened. This is a copy of Mario Tennis Aces that I bought authentically from GameStop. They sold this to me as a new copy. It was on sale when I was buying this, and I didn't even notice this because I got a few games until I got home, but this only has the sticker seal on the side and it is not factory sealed. While I was working at GameStop, not my location, but I did hear of other locations and other managers that were allowing employees to take brand new copies of games, just the disc or the cartridge, home to play, and then they would bring them back and they would still sell them as a new game. The manager was doing this to say that the company or the employees could get research about the game so that they could be knowledgeable. However, that game was already used. That game was played and experienced by another player. This was a problem when I was working because some people would bring in a copy of a game and they'd say the Club Nintendo code was already redeemed, or maybe there would be some save file on the game or something inappropriate on a console and it wasn't new clearly because someone already used it. I don't understand how they get away with this. Other stores would sell these as opened or slightly damaged, open boxed, something like that. How do they not even tell you that they're doing this? Now, specifically, what happened to me recently with this is I wanted to get a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles Torna, the Golden Company. So not this one, it's Torna. I still don't even have it. The story is I drove half an hour to get to a store that I saw on the GameStop website that had a copy in stock. The closest one was half an hour away. So I get there, I wait in line, I get to the front and I ask, I would like to buy a copy of Torna, the Golden Company for Xenoblade. He immediately starts walking around the till into the heart of the store, and I know what's happening immediately. I question him, it's new, right? And he goes, well, yeah. And then he grabs the case off the wall, which is already open, and starts bringing it over. And I went, is it factory sealed? And he goes, no, but we'll put a seal on it for you. And I go, that's not good enough. That's not brand new. It's not factory sealed. It's open boxed. And he said, well, that's what we do. That's kind of our policy. And I went, I used to work at GameStop. I know it used to be years ago, but how is that not considered illegal? And he went, look, man, like 95% of our customers don't care. You're just part of the 5% that do. More of us need to care. Having a sticker seal over a copy of a game is not considered brand new. The problem with this for me, extreme problem with this for me, is that GameStop can just print their own copies and covers of games, which I'm about to get to in a second. But you can imagine walking into a store, buying a brand new copy of Breath of the Wild, and then getting home and realizing that someone else already licked it because you look at the cartridge and there's a lick mark on it because someone wanted to see how bad the Switch cartridges taste. That is insane that they're allowed doing this. That should definitely be illegal and should not be considered a good business practice. They can't sell new games opened. This went way back in the past as well. The Wii. I bought Final Fantasy Echoes of Time. This just has the sticker seal, but I bought it brand new because it was a really good price, but it's clearly not. Endless Ocean Blue World, the second game on the Wii in this series, same thing, just the sticker seal, not actually factory sealed. The Blob 2, I had a different copy of this, but this one has the sticker seal, and look, it's factory sealed according to GameStop. That is insane to me. Alright, so next up is when they're selling new games. So number 2, when they're selling new games as used. When they take a copy of a brand new game, like Xenoblade Chronicles, they open it up and then they sell it as a recycled used copy. Why would GameStop want to do this? Well, number 1, GameStop makes almost all of their profit off of used games, or they used to, but now it's mostly toys. But used games give them a much bigger profit margin than new games. New games, they only make a few dollars each game, and same with systems, so they want to push everything that is recycled or used. Xenoblade Chronicles, back in the day, used to be really hard to find, and it was very expensive in the aftermarket and on eBay. So Nintendo, I guess, noticed this, and GameStop ended up getting a lot of copies of Xenoblade when they reprinted it. But what the higher-ups in the company, what upper management decided to do was they said to the employees and the managers, okay, I want you to take that copy of Xenoblade Chronicles that we could sell for $50 brand new, but on the aftermarket it's selling for way more. So the employees are going to open up this factory-sealed copy of Xenoblade Chronicles, and we're going to sell it as a recycled game for $30 more. Because they don't have control of what they can sell the new games for, but they do have control of what they can sell the used games for. So they did this with Xenoblade Chronicles. They did this, what I heard from the internet, because, you know, the internet's always right, but I also heard through the grapevine that they did this with Metroid Prime Trilogy as well. That is insanely, insanely shady. I'm just going to put these down before they fall, because they ultimately will. I have examples of games here that I bought that are brand new, but they were sold as recycled from the store. Steel Diver. Not the best game, one of the launch games for the console. You can see here that this was supposed to be $44.99. I didn't pay that price. But here is a factory sealed copy of Steel Diver, and this one has the recycled sticker right on it. It's clearly not factory sealed. I bought this in 2013. Here is another one that says new, $2.99. Thought that was a good deal. That's why I have several copies of Steel Diver, even though it's essentially useless. So it was new. These were all bought at the exact same location as recycled copies of the game. All three of them. The only one that had the sticker on it as recycled, though, is this one right here. That is so insane that they got away with that. Here is a copy of Golden Sun. This is Dark Dawn, also factory sealed, but this one was bought as a recycled used copy. And I also have Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. So this one here is a recycled factory sealed game from their store. They didn't even bother to open this. They just sold it as recycled. Now I have heard sometimes they get games traded in and they can't open them up if they're traded in and guarantee that they are factory sealed and everything's in there. So they leave them sealed and they sell them as new. But these games in particular, I know that they are from the store and they just sold them as recycled, probably so that they can make more profit. That's insane to me that that's been going on for as long as it has. I cannot believe you can open up games and sell them as recycled to make more profit or a higher price. That's ridiculous. All right, number 3. Swapping game cases on you. Without your knowledge, swapping game cases on you is nuts. So this copy right here of Super Mario Galaxy 2 looks pretty authentic, looks pretty legit. And then you look at the back and you start going, okay, wait a second, this kind of looks a little bit weird. It even has the GameStop and EB Games logo on it, which also yields or goes to my first point. They can print their own game cases. They should just be printing their own, putting them on the wall rather than opening games. Besides the point. So then I look at the side of this, and clearly this does not look like a real game. Here is the authentic version case of the game right here. So when you put the games side by side like this, you can clearly tell that one is real and one is not. What's happening though is I'd go in the store and I'd bring up this thing, this case to the front. I'd say I'd like to buy this. And then sometime in the back, they switch it out for this copy. The manager might have told them they want to push out this copy because this is not a real copy, so they want to get rid of it as fast as possible. And they usually try to take advantage of young children and older individuals like your grandparents when they do something like this, because they might not notice that this is a GameStop or EB Games copy. That's crazy that they're switching them out on you, so just be really careful. Where you get into a lot of trouble with this is especially in terms of like quality or what's included in the game. So if you bring up this copy of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, this is the red version of the game, this is the one that I wanted, but they ended up trying to sell me this copy. This is the one with the white casing, and because this was printed more recently, it might not even have the manual, it might just have like an e-manual for some of these, so just be aware, or it might not have a Club Nintendo insert code so you don't get it complete. So you bring this up, but they try and give you this when you get back into your car and you notice. That's ridiculous. Another one that happened to me actually is when I'm trying to buy a game that has a special edition or a pack-in. So if I wanted this copy of New Super Mario Bros. U that comes with New Super Luigi U, you get both. You see this on the wall, you bring it up to the till. They end up giving you this copy. This does not have the same content. Now, this might have just been a mistake. This could have been negligence. It could have been an honest error. But keep in mind and be really careful. Whatever you bring up to the front isn't necessarily what they're going to give you at GameStop, which is crazy to me. Another one, just as an example, if you bring up Bayonetta 2 and you're getting it specifically because it has the bonus for Bayonetta 1, don't let them swap it out on you for the copy that does not have that bonus included. So be really, really careful with that. That's, again, insane to me. These things have to be illegal. Number 4, claiming a game is sold out, but they have the used one. But in actuality, they still have copies of the new game. So for example, right now, when Animal Crossing was extremely popular, stores were selling out. Stores would actually sometimes just say to you that you have to pre-order it because we're not sure if we'll get all enough copies in. Why would GameStop say that? You have to put $5 down to guarantee you'll have the game. They're trying to scare you into thinking that the only way you can get the game is if you pre-order it. Meanwhile, you could go to Walmart or Best Buy or Amazon and they have copies of the game in stock and you don't have to pre-order it, but your local GameStop sold out of the copies because they only got the pre-orders in. Sometimes they still have the new copies of this game, but they have a used copy in stock. So when you ask, like, oh, I want to buy Animal Crossing, do you have any new copies? They'll go, we have it used. Right, but I want to buy it new. And they're like, well, we have it used. And they won't even tell you if they have it new or not, or they'll lie and say that they don't. Then you go home and you look on their website because you really want to get ARMS, but they have a used copy in. And literally on your phone when you're in the store, you can look and search what they have in stock for new and see if they have it or not. Because I had someone in the store I was in have that happen to them. He literally went on his phone and said, well, it says you have them new. And they went like, oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, Jim, where is it? Oh, and then they like, oh, it was in a box. But they were trying to push that used copy on you because they really thought that you wanted that copy of Odyssey used because the store is going to make more money used. The reason why they do this is because they usually allocate for stores to sell a certain percentage of everything they sold as used. So if they sell a brand new Nintendo Switch for over $300, they now need to sell that much percentage-wise. It could be 30%, 40% or 50%, something like that, as used. So they really try and push the used copies on you, even though they might have it new. That is also ridiculous. If I want a new copy of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D because it's really hard to find, or it's starting to get harder to find. It's not really hard to find this factory sealed. But if I want this one as a new copy, Canadian price there by the way, $39.99, I don't want to buy the used copy, and I don't want employees at a store, or I don't even want to think about these employees are lying to me and lying about the stock. You might have a really good store in your location, so just keep in mind, if you're out of town, that could happen to you, especially if you're not familiar with the staff, because most of the time, if I'm familiar with the staff, they never try and pull something on me. They don't even ask too many questions when I'm trying to check out. But normally, that's something that you have to think about. That's insane. Number 5, last one. Putting the disc protection on, or the cartridge protection on, without even asking you. So buying something like Pokemon Ultra Moon. This happened to me. I wanted to buy this game, and I was not buying it from my usual place. I went to the front, and I knew that the game was something like, let's say, $49.99. And with tax in my area, I know what it should come out to, but when I went to pay, there was extra dollars on. So I asked, why is this more expensive? He's like, oh, the disc protection. And I went, I don't want the disc protection. He's like, oh, well, it covers the game for a year, and it's included for $3. And I went, like, no, you didn't even ask. I don't want the disc protection. He goes, oh, well, like, you have to pay for it. And I went, you know, and this has happened to other people online too, because I've read about it and heard about it. And I said, no, like, let me speak to a manager. And he goes, I am the manager. So I know exactly what was happening in this case. The manager is trying to increase his own stats. Everyone who worked at the GameStop or EB Games back when I was working back years ago, I'm not sure if this is the exact same now. If you know, you can let me know. But they want to increase your items per transaction, like your IPT or whatever they call it at your store. So if you sell the protection on it, it's considered 2 things on that transaction, and they want to get you above like 3 or 4. So if you're buying a game, they want to sell you the strategy guide or some toys. They always want to buy you, or they always want you buying multiple items. I think the store process might have changed, but back then, I think it was with Ultra Moon, The manager of the store did this and was trying to force me to buy the game. So I said, like, I'm not buying it. And he went, well, that's what our store policy is. And I went, like, I know you're lying to me. And we basically got into an argument. There was no one else in the store. It was only the two of us. I ended up leaving, and I think I got Ultra Moon from another store, from another GameStop, actually, which... that was stupid of me. But when you're buying a brand new game, or when you're buying a game and they automatically put that $3 or $2 protection on it, without even asking you, that's what has to be illegal. It's annoying enough when they ask you like 3 or 4 questions when you get to the till, finally in a GameStop, you know, do you want to buy it used? Do you have anything to trade in? Do you want to protect it for like 3 years? And it just feels like this really long conversation and facade. They should probably just only ask one question and not be allowed to ask you like 3 or 4, because it's honestly really uncomfortable as an employee when I worked there, and it was really uncomfortable to try and keep my job and keep my IPT, my items per transaction number, up. But this GameStop employee was just adding it without even asking to customers. Now, he didn't pull that one on me, but he probably pulled it on some sort of younger child or adults or even grandparents at some point, and he got away with it. These 5 practices have to be considered illegal from GameStop. So number 1, new games, but they open them and they're no longer factory sealed. Number 2, selling new as used like Xenoblade and then charging even more money to make profit on recycled games. Number 3, swapping out the game cases. Selling you a game case that's not the authentic one, or selling you something that you didn't even want. By the way, they can print their own game cases. Just put those on the wall. Why are you opening games in the first place? Number 4, claiming that a game is sold out, new, and they have it used, or just not being upfront and honest. When you're trying to ask, do you have a new game, just answer my question. And number 5, automatically putting disc protection on without even asking you. These practices from GameStop have to be considered illegal. We have to call them out on it. Please comment below if you had any similar experiences to me, especially that disc protection. That is insane. Or buying a new copy of a game that's already opened and possibly codes are already used. Maybe someone licked the cartridge. That's disgusting, especially with what's going on in the world right now. Thanks so much for watching. Feel free to fill the like bucket. The face reveal is still happening. I have talked to YouTube. They are sending the silver play button. It should arrive in just a few weeks. It might be a little bit delayed and slower right now, but we'll see, and we'll do the face reveal and we'll celebrate together. Go collect them all. Keep smiling while gaming. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe.